if there was a big conspiracy and they were running this secret network of people who were engaging in a major crime, inappropriate sexual activities with minors, that network of people is probably going to work at a high level where everything is strategically thought out and there's no paper trail. Think about it. If criminals that sell drugs on the street work where they really make it hard for themselves to get caught by not talking openly about things, but talking in code, not having anything written down, having all kinds of ways of, not tying and connecting these crimes to them. And majority of these criminals, when they get convicted, it's pretty much just they get caught in the act, or it's a testimony from an eyewitness. They're not getting hard evidence because they're good at covering their tracks. So if low-level criminals are doing that, what makes you think that high-level criminals at this level, where they have a private island and they take people there on private jets and stuff, you think they have a list that says client list? Here's all these bigwigs' names, and they like this type of young person. It's ridiculous. They would never have that stuff because it would be so incriminating. I think there was actually a true story about this, but it was depicted in the Goodfellas movie from the 90s, Martin Scorsese film. And they all got caught at the end. I don't know if the whole thing's true, but there's elements of it that I think are true. They got caught at the end and they all got tied together in the RICO stuff because there was one guy who was part of the mafia that was keeping records of everything because he thought that the mafia was screwing him. So he wanted to have evidence to be able to take to them and say, actually, no, you owe me this, you're doing that, this guy is screwing me here, he's doing this behind your back. So he was keeping a list of everything. And then when the FBI arrested them and raided their homes and stuff, they found it, and it was all incriminating evidence that they used to tie a bunch of people together in the same crime. So I believe a part of that is true, and that's how they use the RICO Act to tie multiple people together. So people at this high level are not going to be operating like that. They're going to keep everything as discreet as possible. They're going to talk in code. They're going to write in code. They're going to make sure that they use aliases and so many other things. They're going to make it extremely difficult for whoever's investigating them to actually tie them to that crime. So there's probably not a client list. If I had to guess, I'd say there's probably not a client list. We know there's the phone book of Jeffrey Epstein that we saw in previous videos that has people's contact information. But again, he claims to be a business person also, aside from this whole situation. And those contacts could be anybody, but also they could just be people that he meets because he mingles in those circles.